The human starship Odyssey drifted silently through the edge of the Andromeda expanse. Nebulae painted the void with streaks of pink and blue, stars twinkling like distant lanterns. Captain Elias Rourke stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the deep darkness ahead. For years, humanity had reached across the stars, discovering planets, stars, and alien civilizations. Yet even with all the progress, the unknown still held a dangerous allure. "Captain," said Lieutenant Myra, her voice cutting through the quiet hum of the ship, "we're picking up an unknown signal. It's faint but definitely artificial." It was not a message, at least not in any language he recognized, but it was alive. That was enough to make his curiosity flare. "Prepare a boarding team," he ordered, keeping his voice calm, though a thrill of anticipation ran through him. "We don't know what's out there, but we don't turn away from the unknown." Inside, the corridors were narrow and winding, lit by a dim, pulsing glow. The air smelled faintly of ozone and something sweet, something alive. The human team moved cautiously, their boots echoing softly against the metal. Then they saw her. She was sitting at the center of the ship, surrounded by strange equipment and panels. Her skin glowed faintly, colors shifting in response to some internal rhythm. Her eyes were large, luminous, and intelligent, studying them without fear or hostility. She looked like nothing human imagination could have created. Her movements were smooth and deliberate, graceful in ways that defied physics. She was entirely still, yet her presence seemed to fill the room. The humans froze, unsure of how to approach. "Don't make sudden movements," Elias whispered to his team. "Let her decide how she wants to respond." "Can anyone translate her?" Mara asked, her voice low. Elias shook his head. "No human language matches hers. We'll have to rely on observation." The human team tried simple gestures, showing that they came in peace, but all attempts at communication failed. Words were useless here. Then Elias paused. He looked at her more closely than anyone else had dared. The way her skin pulsed, the way her eyes reflected the light, it was as if she could see into him. And he realized something important. This was more than a creature. She was a mind, a consciousness unlike any human had known. He took a deep breath. There were no words to bridge the gap, no phrases that could convey humanity's curiosity, courage, or empathy. But perhaps, he thought, some truths were universal. He stepped closer still, slow and careful, until he was within a few meters of her. And then softly, almost instinctively, he whispered, "You're beautiful." The alien woman's reaction was not fear. It was comprehension, emotion, recognition. "Captain," Mara began, but Elias raised a hand, silent. He too was transfixed. She went still, but in that stillness she was alive in a way that defied all their expectations. Minutes passed like hours. The glow of her skin changed through every color of the spectrum, as if she were processing something immense. And then, slowly, the glow dimmed just enough for the humans to see her eyes. They were bright with awareness, with a spark of intelligence that made every human present feel small yet privileged to witness. Elias realized that she had never experienced something like that before. Humanity's words, simple as they were, had reached her in a way no alien species had. There was no translation needed for emotion, for intent. Somehow he had conveyed understanding, respect, and appreciation all in one simple phrase. The team stepped back cautiously. They needed to respect her space, but they also needed to understand her. "She understands something somehow," Elias said quietly. "She feels it, we just don't know how yet." Over the next few hours, the humans observed her silently, studying her gestures, her pulsing skin, and the faint hum of energy that ran through her vessel. She responded to their presence, not with words, but with patterns of light and color. Every pulse seemed to carry meaning, and Elias began to suspect that she was communicating in a way far more complex than human language could ever capture. "Captain," Mara said, her eyes wide with wonder. "She's responding to us emotionally. She doesn't understand words, but she can sense intent. In the end, that's what separates humans from the rest. We see beyond the obvious. We care enough to try, even when we don't fully understand." Elias extended his hand slowly, palm open. She tilted her head, studying it, and then, with a motion more graceful than any human could manage, she mirrored the gesture. There was a connection forming, a bridge between two species that had never known each other. "It's working," Mara whispered, barely able to contain her excitement. "She's engaging with us." "Not with us, Mara, with humanity." Inside, the alien woman remained near Elias, her glow dimming to a soft, steady rhythm. She did not speak, but that did not matter. Communication had transcended words. Elias felt a strange warmth in his chest. Humanity had touched something extraordinary here, not through weapons or technology, but through simple courage and sincerity. One whisper, one recognition of beauty had opened a door that might change the course of her species, and perhaps the galaxy itself. "Captain," Mara said quietly, "what happens now?" No longer were they mere explorers, they were witnesses, participants in something historic. "We learn from her," Elias replied. "We respect her, and we show her who humanity really is." She had felt something humans could not fully explain, something that went beyond words. And in that moment, the galaxy seemed less vast, less unknowable. The stars outside the ship continued to burn, distant and indifferent. But inside the Odyssey, a spark had been lit, a spark that would illuminate not just the alien woman's path, but humanity's place among the stars. For Elias, the whisper had been instinctive. For Lithara, it was transformative. And for the humans, it was a reminder that courage and sincerity could reach across the void, bridging worlds that had never touched before. The night stretched on, quiet yet charged with potential. And as the humans and the alien woman continued their silent interaction, Elias knew that this encounter would not be the end. It would be the beginning, a beginning of understanding, of wonder, and of humanity's first real imprint on an alien consciousness. And somewhere deep inside, Lithara understood that the universe was far larger than she had ever imagined. And yet, for the first time, she did not feel alone. The days that followed the first encounter passed slowly aboard the Odyssey. Lithara remained close to Captain Elias Rourke, moving through the ship with grace and curiosity. Her skin's luminous colors pulsed in response to the humans around her, changing as if reflecting their emotions. Each shift in color fascinated the crew. Some called it a living language, others called it art, but Elias knew it was something far more profound. It was her way of understanding and connecting with humanity. The humans tried every method of communication. They showed her tools, pictures of Earth, and even simple symbols. Lithara observed everything silently. When a human smiled at her, her skin flared with warm shades of gold and amber. When someone became frustrated, she mirrored their tension with a flicker of deep red. Slowly, the crew realized that she could sense intent, honesty, and emotion in ways humans could only guess at. Elias spent hours near her, explaining humanity not through words but through deeds. He taught her the ship's daily routines, how humans repaired and maintained technology, and the care they took with every life on board. Lithara watched, absorbing knowledge as a dry sponge absorbs water. Every small gesture, humans working together, helping one another, showing patience, seemed to leave her glowing more vividly. One afternoon, as they navigated a cluster of asteroids, Lithara approached the bridge on her own. Her movements were slow and deliberate. She stopped before the main console, studying it with intense focus. Her glowing skin shifted from soft lavender to bright cyan, a rhythm Elias had come to recognize as concentration. "Looks like she wants to learn navigation," Mara whispered, eyes wide. Elias nodded, smiling. "Then let her. Sometimes the best way to understand a being is to let them explore." "She's incredible," Mara said. "It's like she understands space itself, not just coordinates." But Lithara's awakening did not go unnoticed. Unknown to the Odyssey, alien factions had tracked the derelict vessel. Some saw Lithara as a symbol of power, others as a relic of a species long thought extinct. Across the expanse, messages traveled faster than ships. News of her revival reached ears that would not hesitate to destroy rather than negotiate. One evening, as the human crew rested, the ship's sensors detected incoming energy signatures. Elias and Mara rushed to the bridge, finding multiple alien ships closing in fast. They were sleek black vessels, their designs unfamiliar, but their intent unmistakable: intercept and capture. "Captain, they're not hailing us," Mara said, her hands moving over the controls. "I don't think they're friendly." "They're different," she whispered, not with words, but through a low hum that resonated in the ship. Elias recognized the sound as a form of communication, perhaps warning or alert. It matched the energy patterns of the enemy ships, almost like she could sense their movements before they happened. "Trust her instincts," Elias said, more to himself than anyone else. He guided the ship through tight asteroid fields, weaving between massive rocks and debris while the alien fleet struggled to follow. Lithara's guidance, subtle as it was, made a difference. The ship moved with uncanny precision, as though part human, part alien. After hours of tense maneuvering, the Odyssey managed to put distance between itself and the pursuing fleet. The crew breathed in relief, but Elias knew it was only temporary. These factions would not give up, and their interest in Lithara would only grow. Later, as the ship drifted through a calm stretch of space, Elias approached Lithara. She was sitting quietly, her glowing skin shifting from deep purple to gentle gold, reflecting a mixture of exhaustion and contemplation. "You saved us," he said softly. "We would have been trapped without you." Elias felt them in his mind, not his ears. "I never understood what humans could be." Elias understood that she had begun to see humans not as creatures bound by biology, but as beings capable of wonder, creativity, and courage. The calm did not last. As the crew settled into routines, Lithara began to share fragments of memory. Through visions, images, and pulses of light, she showed Elias her homeworld, a vibrant planet filled with towering crystal forests, oceans that shimmered with color, and cities of living energy. She showed the devastation wrought by war, her species nearly wiped out by unknown enemies. Elias felt her sorrow, the weight of generations lost, yet he also sensed hope, a spark that survived even in her people's near extinction. "We can help you," Elias said gently, though he wasn't sure she could fully understand. "We can learn from each other. We can survive together." It was an acknowledgement, a tentative acceptance of the bond forming between them. She had never seen humans act with such deliberate kindness, nor had she imagined that trust could extend beyond fear. But as they traveled together, the threat of the pursuing alien factions grew nearer. Sensors picked up large ships emerging from hyperspace, their weapons charged and ready. The Odyssey could not outrun them indefinitely, and confrontation seemed inevitable. Elias gathered the crew. "We may face combat," he said, "but remember, we are not aggressors. We fight only to protect ourselves and her. Trust each other. Trust humanity's strength. We can overcome this." The alien woman's eyes met hers, glowing softly with acknowledgement. As the Odyssey entered the path of the approaching fleet, Lithara's skin shifted violently, bright pulses of cyan and violet spreading across her body. Elias realized she was reacting to the enemy ships in ways the humans could not comprehend. She seemed to sense their movements, their intent, their weaknesses. "Captain," Mara said, "she can help us. She sees things we can't." She directed them toward a cluster of asteroids, weaving a path that minimized risk and maximized advantage. The humans fired only when necessary, careful to disable rather than destroy. For hours, they danced through the asteroid field, a combination of human strategy and alien instinct. Lithara's bioluminescent glow guided the ship like a living beacon, each pulse a signal of potential danger or safe passage. Elias felt a deep respect for her, not just for her abilities, but for her willingness to trust humans enough to guide them in return. Finally, they emerged from the asteroid field. The pursuing fleet, unable to match their maneuvering, began to retreat. Lithara's glow dimmed to a soft, steady rhythm signaling relief. Elias exhaled deeply. "We did it," he said quietly. "We survived." It was a revelation that would change her perception forever. The night aboard the Odyssey was quiet, the stars outside calm once more. The crew began to settle, but Elias stayed near Lithara. He had come to realize that their journey together was not just about survival. It was about learning, understanding, and connection. Humanity had touched an alien consciousness in a way that no force, no technology could. "Captain," Mara whispered, breaking the silence, "do you think she will stay with us?" And that matters more than anything else. For the first time, Lithara did not feel alone. She had found a kind of kinship she had never imagined, and it was through humans that she had discovered it. And for Elias, the captain of the Odyssey, the lesson was clear. Humanity's greatest power was not in weapons, ships, or technology. It was in courage, empathy, and the willingness to reach across the void and whisper a simple truth. "You are beautiful." The stars outside continued to shine, indifferent yet eternal. But inside the ship, a light had been kindled, one that would guide them all through the dangers to come, and perhaps reshape the galaxy in ways neither human nor alien could yet understand. The calm did not last long. Even as the Odyssey floated through the quiet reaches of the Andromeda expanse, the sensors began to detect a new wave of alien ships emerging from hyperspace. They were larger, faster, and more heavily armed than the last pursuers. This time, there would be no simple escape. Elias stood on the bridge, eyes scanning the approaching fleet. Lithara hovered nearby, her bioluminescent skin glowing faintly, a steady rhythm that mirrored the tension in the air. She did not speak, but Elias could feel her awareness, her perception of danger. Somehow, she understood the approaching threat in a way that humans could not. Mara, bring up the tactical displays, Elias ordered. We need a plan that keeps everyone alive, including her. She can help us, he said quietly. She can see things we cannot, we follow her lead. Cyan flashes indicated danger in a certain quadrant. Deep violet meant a potential path for escape or advantage. Bursts of white suggested opportunity. As the alien ships drew nearer, Lithara extended a limb toward the controls, tracing a path through the fleet that no human could have calculated. The Odyssey followed her guidance, weaving through the void like a living entity. Every maneuver was precise, and yet it carried an elegance that left the humans in awe. For hours, they danced through the approaching enemy, avoiding destruction by a hair's breadth. Lithara's senses seemed to merge with the ship's systems, predicting enemy movements before they happened. The humans realized that they were no longer just a crew. They were partners in a symphony of survival, guided by trust, courage, and intelligence. Despite the tense maneuvering, Elias could sense Lithara's curiosity. She was not merely reacting to danger. She was learning, observing, adapting. Her species had survived in the shadows of the galaxy, but humanity had shown her a new kind of strength, a strength born not of brute force, but of creativity, cooperation, and compassion. We need to think bigger, Elias said, his mind racing. We can't just survive, we have to turn this to our advantage. Can you help us fight back? We show them what humans and our friends are capable of. Human pilots seized the opportunity to disable key weapons on the enemy vessels, using precision strikes rather than brute force. Lithara's glow intensified as she worked in tandem with the crew. She pulsed through frequencies that disrupted enemy shields and navigation systems. The aliens were taken aback. They had not expected resistance guided by an intelligence unlike anything they had seen before. Hours passed in a tense blur. The Odyssey darted from one position to another, using Lithara's insight and the crew's skill to stay one step ahead of annihilation. The bridge became a place of unity, where human courage and alien perception merged into a force greater than either could achieve alone. At one point, a massive alien cruiser attempted to flank them. Its weapons were powerful, designed to tear through ships with ease. Lithara's glow turned brilliant white, almost blinding, and a pulse of energy surged outward, deflecting the attacks and creating a temporary shield around the Odyssey. Elias felt the ship vibrate with the force, but it held. The humans cheered quietly, hearts pounding. They were witnessing something historic, humanity's first true collaboration with an alien consciousness in combat. But Lithara's energy had limits. She looked exhausted, her skin flickering as she concentrated. Elias realized that if they relied solely on her, she could be overwhelmed. He needed a plan that combined human ingenuity with her unique abilities. We split their forces, he said to Mara. Draw them apart, confuse their formation. We use Lithara's abilities as a shield while we exploit the gaps. The humans executed maneuvers with precision, luring part of the fleet into asteroid fields while keeping the Odyssey's position fluid and unpredictable. Lithara's pulses guided every movement, every adjustment, every decision. The alien ships faltered, unable to anticipate the combination of human tactics and her extraordinary perception. As the battle continued, Elias reflected on what had brought them here. Humanity had always been underestimated, often dismissed by older, more technologically advanced civilizations. Yet it was not technology alone that made them remarkable. It was their ability to inspire, to connect, and to trust one another, and now to extend that trust across species. Lithara's bioluminescence pulsed faster as the final enemy ships closed in. Elias could feel her fear, but also her determination. She had never encountered humans before, yet she trusted them completely, and in return, they trusted her. That trust was their greatest weapon. The climax of the encounter came when the alien flagship, massive and heavily armed, moved to corner the Odyssey. Its weapons were locked on, energy beams charging. Lithara extended her limbs toward the ship's interface, her glow a blinding brilliance that filled the bridge. She released a pulse of energy that disrupted the flagship's targeting systems, creating a brief window of opportunity. Elias seized the moment. Mara, full power to forward cannons. Aim for the engines. Humans and alien alike had survived, not through raw power, but through coordination, trust, and ingenuity. Lithara's glow softened, a gentle golden hue that reflected relief and understanding. She had seen humanity at its best, and she had contributed in ways that defied imagination. Later, as the Odyssey drifted in calm space once more, Elias approached Lithara. She hovered near the console, her glow steady and warm. "You were amazing," he said softly. "We couldn't have done it without you." "You understand humanity now," Elias continued. "Not just what we do, but why we do it. Courage, compassion, creativity, that is who we are." And in turn, she had shared her abilities, her perception, and her trust. The crew gathered around, sharing stories of the battle, of Lithara's guidance, and of the moments when human ingenuity had turned the tide. They laughed, cheered quietly, and marveled at the extraordinary partnership they had witnessed. For everyone aboard the Odyssey, it was clear that something historic had occurred. Humanity had proven itself, not just as explorers, but as beings capable of bridging worlds and inspiring trust in even the most alien of minds. Elias looked at Lithara, her glow gentle and radiant. He felt a surge of hope. The galaxy was vast, full of dangers and wonders beyond comprehension, but now he knew humanity could leave a mark, not through domination or conquest, but through courage, empathy, and connection. "Lithara," he whispered, taking a small step closer, "you're beautiful." She responded, her glow radiating warmth, understanding, and a silent acknowledgement that they were equals in this vast universe. She had seen humanity at its best, and in turn she had revealed the beauty of her own species. The Odyssey sailed through the stars, quiet once more, the threat gone but the experience lasting forever. Humans and alien alike had shared a journey that would shape the future. Lithara's presence was no longer just a mystery to be studied. She was a friend, a guide, and a testament to the power of trust and understanding. In the weeks that followed, Lithara learned more about humans. She studied their art, their music, their ways of thinking. She learned their history, their struggles, and their triumphs. And humans in turn learned from her, about her people, about ways of sensing and perceiving the universe that no human could have imagined. Together, they explored new worlds, faced new dangers, and built a partnership that became legendary among the stars. Humanity had met an alien consciousness and inspired awe. Lithara had found hope and understanding in humans she had once thought limited. And through it all, they had learned a simple truth. The universe was vast, but connection, trust, courage, and empathy could bridge any distance. For Elias, the lesson was simple yet profound. Humans could inspire, create, and connect in ways no weapon or technology could achieve. And for Lithara, the galaxy had revealed something extraordinary. Beauty was not just in form or power, but in courage, trust, and the willingness to reach out across the void and recognize another being as equal. The stars outside the Odyssey continued to shine, ancient and indifferent. But inside the ship, a light had been kindled, one that would guide humanity and Lithara into the future. Together, they had faced impossible odds, survived, and proven that courage and compassion could leave a mark in the darkest corners of the universe. And as the human captain whispered once more, "You're beautiful," Lithara's glow shone brighter than ever, a living testament to the bond between two species and the enduring power of hope, trust, and understanding. The galaxy was theirs to explore. Together,